Greetings, friends. Somebody asked us to do a video on social exclusion. This experience that a lot of us feel of being marginalized or outside of our culture and the effects that has, how we can turn this around.
So this is perhaps a bigger thing than we might realize, and I think affects all of us to one degree or another, wanting to belong, or sometimes even making a decision that isn't in alignment with our values, but because the whole group is doing it. Oh, well, all the girls are going out for a drink after work. And even though I said I was going to cut back on the alcohol, I'm trying to lose weight, I don't really know, everybody's going, and there's kind of some pressure. And so I think in different places in our life, this fear is really present, even when we might not realize it.
It's chickens on the ground that you might be hearing. So that's that little sound underneath. This is important to point out what you said, because it's not just, well, we do feel it in our personal lives, right? I might be trying to quit drinking, and then I feel that social pressure to go and drink with my friends, and if I don't, am I going to be in that group anymore? Are they going to think I'm strange? So that gets in the way of our own personal development. We also see this working on a huge global scale. You know, you look at what happened with the whole Nazi thing in Germany, all kinds of people following into this. And we've seen this in psychological experiments too, where just to fit in the group, people will do things to each other that are surprisingly brutal. The reason this is happening is that I think, you know, we all have this natural desire to be part of a tribe. I think about, like, Alone, right? That survival show. And what we're seeing there is an experiment in some element of solitude, in which we see that often the toughest thing for people is not food or this or that, but it's just being outside of a social context. And we get to see it here at Rewilding University too.
Definitely.
For 90% of the people that come here, by far the greatest challenge that they face is missing the people that they love, missing that group, that tribe that they're part of.
I think an interesting point that you brought up is this tribe sense. And I feel that, at least in my opinion, we maybe don't realize we have that. That we truly, I feel like it's in our genetic makeup. We are social people. We survive because we're a tribe. And if you don't belong to a tribe, you think about primitive cultures, if you were outcast, that can mean your death. You are done for if you...
Like worse than death.
Right,
yeah.
And so we will do anything to belong. The problem comes in this modern, at least Western culture of United States of America and certain other places that are westernized, where it is independence, individualization above all else. So what we have is be this little, I am a rock, I am an island. Be a shell unto yourself so that you don't need anyone. I mean, we expect it of our kids from the day we're born. If your baby sleeps fine by themselves in another room, hooray, you've got a great citizen there. If they are needing more time on your body, more time with people, they don't want to sleep alone, then that's a problem. But really, even if you look back again to primitive cultures, we all lived and slept in a very close working community where we supported each other. And being alone is extremely unnatural for the human species, in my opinion.
So what we're seeing is this dissonance inside of us, where we have this natural tendency to be social creatures, yet the message, especially in the United States, has been one of that rugged individualism. Mm-hmm. You should be able to be totally individual, function by yourself. And that's really this illusion we're given. You know, you put somebody out in the woods by themselves for a little while, and you quickly find out how individual they really are. I think we need to bring social media into this, because, you know, a big part of this is also that today our tribe, right, is not just family and friends, but it's extended out into this new realm, you know, in human evolution of social media. And we were talking this morning about how this is a very different sort of relationship. In other words, the way I project myself in social media can be a lot different.
Right. People don't have to see one another, and you're not face to face or even hearing someone's voice necessarily. But because it's just this screen and there is no emotion, and you can't see how the other person is responding, we just do things that are probably out of character for some of us.
It's, you know, I've heard someone say that human communication is, you know, it's like 10% words and, you know, 90% body language. And so you take out that face-to-face interaction, and a lot of the moderateness is removed. So in other words, I might be expressing my feelings about something, and if we're face-to-face, you're going to see in my body language that I have some doubts about it. I'm wrestling with this in my mind, and that might lead to some really interesting conversations that change both of us. But on social media, I just can project words, and that allows me essentially to become much more extreme. And it brings out that extremeness. And I think that's a lot of what we're seeing today is through this social media, it's bringing out, in some ways, sometimes the best, but often the worst of our human nature as we try to interact. And finding your sense of tribe, then, it's much the same with social media as we've seen historically with religion, with you know, political kind of affiliations, where as I go in and I'm trying to become a part of this group, I'll almost do anything to belong. And that feeling of tribe is so much that even if that group is doing things that really in my heart I don't agree with, I may find myself changing my behavior just to fit into the group.
We need a sense of tribe. It is essential to us. And there are places on social media that are great places to connect, where you can learn, where you can share, where you can grow. There are religious groups, there are political groups, there are causes out there that are valuable to us. However, we have to be the discerning ones. So the good news is that we can come at the whole tribe sense, the whole social connection, from the rewilding perspective, which is reconnecting with our inner nature, where we have the answers. And that might require some solitude and a chance to figure out who we really are. It might require some courage to say, actually, this is what I believe in and I'm going to stand up to it. But we have inside of us the knowledge of what feels right to us. And if we have the awareness that we can choose which tribes we want to cultivate for ourselves, we can create around us these people and this community that actually supports us and helps us to grow.
This is the key. And it's kind of funny. I think the solution to this problem is it's all part of a big paradox. And the paradox is this, that here we live in this culture that celebrates individualism on the surface. It says, oh, you should be individual. But in reality, that system, that urging towards individualism is geared in a way that we've all become, you've heard that term, sheeple, right? Right, just following. And so, message, become individual, the reality, become a follower.
At all costs.
At all costs, do whatever we say. So from the rewilding perspective, again, a paradox. We're urging towards community and saying, okay, we admit that tribe is important, community is vital to us. But in today's world, the paradox is that we need to cultivate some amount of our inner individuality. And by that, we mean your inner strength, your inner conviction.
Your values that are the priority for your life, that you want to live from.
So as you embark on your journey of self-discovery and creating a strong foundation of integrity of who you are, then you start to project out around yourself, and the result is that you're going to attract people into your life that kind of adhere to those same values, right? And you're going to actually maybe start to change the people around you. I'm thinking of our friend Ryan in this case, who totally inspired us. Not sure if you're watching this, Ryan, but so Ryan was, I'm not going to go super personal here, but he was into some stuff that just was not serving him in a big way. And he began to make some changes.
Big, difficult changes.
Big, difficult changes.
In fact, I believe that he chose to step away from his tribe at the time, from his personal social group, to say, look, I need to find my strength inside myself. And I'm not getting it, right, necessarily from the interactions I'm having with all of the way my life is going, including the people that are here. And he stepped back and started examining what was important to him.
And the changes within a year that he created in himself were amazing. Just, physically, you look at him, you're seeing a different person. Emotionally, mentally, incredible changes. Now, it's, the last we heard from him, he was stepping back into his former social circles. And what was happening is, instead of people shunning him, like, oh, you're not part of the group anymore.
Which I believe anybody would be nervous about.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you'd be scared
yeah.
about, are people going to accept
Right.
me back? But he's created an integrity inside of him that other people could feel. Mm. And he found some of his friends coming up and saying, hey, how can I make these same changes? What did you do? Share with me. Help me out.
Yeah.
So in creating, by giving that attention to ourselves, creating that inner foundation, that inner strength, then we reach out and we shift and we change and transform the community around us. And it doesn't have to be, like in Ryan's case, it doesn't have to be abandoning the people that you formerly were associating with, but it might mean stepping away from them for a while so you have the space, the time to forge yourself, to make these changes, and then to step back in. And people are going to see when you have that leadership quality, when you are living in a way that's integritous, that's in tune with yourself. And they're going to be attracted to that, and it's going to inspire them to do the same thing inside of themselves.
Of course, it's also perfectly acceptable, too, to realize where we have ended up is a long journey that perhaps maybe we were on autopilot while it was happening, and suddenly the people around us are not the tribe that we need anymore. And it's also perfectly acceptable to say, okay, I need to step back. Maybe I am going to select some different people. Maybe I'm going to reach out to that friend from a long time ago who was really interested in some of the things I now want to do with myself. There have been, I think, a number of great people in the world who have said, who you surround yourself with will create and have an effect on who you are. And I think it's important to realize that we have within us a certain power to make the choices. It's a little bit like, what media are you going to let into your life? Mm-hmm. Why are you choosing that media? What food are you going to let into your body? And why are you choosing that? It's the same with our tribe. What tribe are you choosing? Because that also is part of your overall holistic health and your ability to expand and grow and become even more aligned with your own inner nature.
So if you want to transform this, change it for yourself, it's a pretty clear route. First, looking at what your social intake is, who you're surrounding yourself with, and making some changes there if you need to. And it can be virtual sociality in the sense of maybe it's, a book by an author who is going to inspire you, or watching some videos by somebody that you want to think of as part of your tribe, even if you never meet them, but also surrounding yourself with like-minded friends, that are gonna be trying wild animals or whatever.
I want to kind of jump in and say, this just sort of came to me, but it almost seems like if I examine my friends within my life, they're all role models for me. They have something within them that I want to be like, and I want to be around them because they inspire me. And so they're inspiring role models. If you could choose your friends to be inspiring role models, then you're creating a great foundation for yourself.
That's important, because I've said like-minded a couple of times, and that can be a double-edged sword. And if you surround yourself with like-minded people, it can just be people that reinforce your current biases.
Back to the sheeple.
Yeah. So when I'm saying like-minded, what I'm really meaning is like-minded in the sense of your
Like-hearted.
your inner nature.
Like-hearted. We got to share. That's a new term. Like-hearted people.
So, looking out, those people that inspire you, that you know what I'm talking about here, which is that those people that you look at and you're like, this person embodies what I have inside my heart, who I know I really am, even if I'm not acting that way on the outside.
Bring out the best.
Yeah. So the second part of that then is that self-work, realizing that if you build your own foundation, you're going to be changing the people around you, you're going to be attracting in different people, you're going to be, in changing yourself, you're actively transforming the social group around you, and that spreads, right? And that's where we can make a personal change inside of ourselves, and it's going to reach out to change the rest of the world, because even if it's just a tiny, tiny, tiny little change, this stuff adds up. I change myself, that changes the friends around me, the changes in them, that's going to reach out to their friends, and it spreads. So,
I have one more thing that I want to bring up. What if I feel that I'm an introverted person and I'm scared of social interactions? I don't have many friends or any friends that I feel like perhaps I'm really enmeshed in social media, because that to me it's a pseudo tribe, but at least it's there. How can I create some friends? How can I make some choices that bring me into a place where I am surrounded by that?
That's so important, because there's so many people marginalized right now and just like put into the little dump pile. And it might be your sexual preferences, or it might be your religious views, or it might be the way you look. Whatever it is, a lot of us, especially if we have that introverted quality, that's me actually, interestingly enough, that can just put us into this little box where we feel all alone. So for those people, what can we do? Wow, what's your route?
I think the first thing that's helpful to realize is that you actually aren't alone. There has got to be at least one other person who is experiencing the same thing as you. And in fact, probably a lot of people who are feeling the same feelings of alienation or whatever it might be. And to know that out there in the world are people that have a similar sense as you do. And from there, feeling not so alone, you can begin to make steps.
You gotta be careful in this. And I'm just gonna bring this up because we're seeing, groups of people that do feel marginalized, and you go and you become part of a media or a social media group that is of similar mindset, and then you can start to all just get angry together and to breed like hatred and anger. And so yes, connecting with those other people that might be feeling marginalized, but doing it with that's where that self-work first is really important. Doing it with that sense of integrity. I'm not going to go join this group just so I have a sense of tribe. That's what gets us into trouble.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go join this group, and I'm going to change it from within. I'm realizing that that group is there because there's other people feeling the same as me. They're feeling shut out. And I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to be a voice for connection, for deeper connection. Because here's a little secret. Everybody, almost everybody, I'm always going to say almost, almost everybody out there is feeling pretty darn insecure. Mm-hmm. Almost everybody out there is feeling marginalized in some way. And a lot of the people that you see that are the most confident looking, and they're well dressed and they're just talking and blah,
never
blah, blah.
anything wrong.
These are walls. These are masks that we humans wear in order to not show that fearful thing inside of us. So if you are feeling marginalized or put out in a way, you're in very good company, because you're in the company of all the rest of us who are feeling like we can't let our true selves out without being judged. So then we put on some kind of mask. You, no matter how downtrodden you've been, you can shift your inside. You can make changes. I mean, we get to see this happen with people where they just, might be somebody that just is so down and out. And yet, when they say, okay, I am going to find my foundation, I'm going to find my integrity, when they do that, they shift themselves, they shift the people around them. And they might go and even become part of a group that is starting to go in the direction of hate. And they'll start to be a voice to change that. And even if they get booted out of that group because of that, they've made a little impact, they've made a little change. And over time, hopefully that's going to make some real transformations.
If you feel that you're alone or you don't have many friends, on one hand, you could consider yourself, from one perspective, lucky because you don't have a negative social group that you now have to somehow distance yourself from. You can think of yourself as forging yourself anew and starting to select some people you want to get to know better based on their qualities, based on the things we talked about. And you can begin anew and afresh. You simply have to pluck up your courage a bit and make some conversations about things that are interesting to you and notice, that person doesn't make me feel great. Don't need to engage with them anymore. This person was really fun. Maybe I'll invite them out for a cup of coffee and we can talk about that more. And so if you think that, hey, here I am and I'm this fresh being able to begin this new tribe for myself, then you are at this wonderful place where you're going forward and you don't have to worry about baggage from the past. So that's one thing. The second thing is, we're talking about groups out there where people feel marginalized, put down. If that's not your calling, go and volunteer. I cannot tell you how grateful that people can be, that you're there to help them out with something, whatever it may be. And again, it could be a volunteer organization that you believe in and you think, oh my gosh, yeah, pick a nature-based one. I really want to go out and I want to help them. Or you could pick something humanitarian. Or it could be your own volunteering to a neighbor, to a friend. It could be anonymous. But once you start doing that and you start participating in those groups of people, you start finding people who are like-minded in that sense, or heart-minded. Maybe that should be it. Anyway, like-hearted, whatever. You start to find people that can then become part of your tribe, who also want to give to the world, who are also looking outside of themselves. And what a great place to start forming friendships and support.
I mean, what a great way to get your feet wet into becoming more social, because it can be anonymous. So if I'm really scared of social interaction, I can go out, I can do good, I know I'm changing people's lives. I don't even have to step into the spotlight at first if I don't want to. Share your methods of connecting with others. Have you felt marginalized, or have you felt excluded socially? And how have you changed that? By sharing your wisdom and your experiences in the comments, you're going to help others and start this ball rolling.
This is a big topic, and we're only touching the top of it. So please share, become a part of it.
Thank you for watching. Talk with you soon.